Aloha, my name is June. Welcome to my channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing the importance of metals and ratio in your Orgonite. All right. So the first rule of thumb is that Orgonite requires a 50-50 ratio of metals and resin. So what does that mean? Basically, a 50-50 ratio is an even amount of metals and resin distributed in the piece, in the mold, okay? So for example, I have this piece right here, and you can see that it has a fairly decent, even amount of metals and resin, okay? You can see how that's like spread out and evenly distributed. And the importance of this, of course, as you probably know by now, is that the metals is what is necessary to attract the deadly orgone energy. That's actually what's pulling everything in while the crystal is doing the transmutation, okay? And it's also holding the charge as well. So it's important to note that the transmuting is actually only occurring where the metals are present in the piece, okay? If that makes sense. And I do have some examples here that I wanted to show you guys so you have a better understanding of what I mean by this. So if you look at this piece, the first one that I showed you, this whole thing is basically a transmuter. Like the whole thing is transmuting. I mean, it's your classic tower buster, you know. Besides the alchemy involved in this, I mean, the basic main components of this for this to work is the resin, the crystal that's inside, and the metal. So this is your basic transmuter. But of course, you know, along the journey, you're going to be wanting to make, you know, you want to get creative and you want to make some awesome, you know, amplifiers of energy and even more different kinds of transmuters. So, but again, like I said, it's important to note that wherever the metals are present is where the transmuting is happening, okay? So it's not occurring in the spaces where there is no metal. So, all right, so I have an older piece here that I made a while back. And you can see that the top layer is, I have some seashells here, some aquamarine and some sand. So you can get really creative in your pieces, okay? So you know, you're not limited to how you are actually creating your Orgonite. But again, you see this bottom layer here, right? Where the shavings and the resin are. This is where the transmuting is actually happening. So we have the top layer here. So this is just like, you know, for, I guess, the display to make it pretty or whatever. But inside here, I have a quartz crystal wrapped in copper wire. This is where all the magic is happening. Okay, the transmuting. I have another piece here. As you can see, I have the whole top half of the pyramid is basically just crystals. And I do have some quartz crystals here wrapped in red copper wire. So, I mean, so the wire is amplifying the energy of the crystal and directing the energy and the flow of the energy as well. Yeah, so I have some red aventurine, some iolite. So the top half is just crystals. But again, the transmuting isn't happening here, okay? It's happening here where basically I have a whole bunch of quartz crystals inside, embedded in the resin and the metal. All right. So again, we have this piece. You get the idea. I have a really nice sodalite tumble stone, and I have smoky quartz and clear quartz in the bottom half of the pyramid where the transmuting is happening. So the transmuting is happening here in the bottom layer. Okay, so you know, I mean, the more that along the journey, you're probably going to create a lot more intricate types of devices, which is awesome. So this is a good example of that, right? So basically, I would say 70% of this pyramid is just crystals. So I have some pink opal, moonstone. There's a moonstone here in the center with some black tourmaline. All right. And you can see the bottom layer, the base of the pyramid, where the metals are, is where the transmutation is occurring. Okay. So, I mean, out of this whole pyramid, I mean, you do have energies here. Okay. So there are, it's not to say that where the crystals are located, it's not like an important part of the transmitter, but just know, like, this is just where the crystals are emitting their frequencies, and the healing properties or what have you is here where the crystals are located. But that, again, like I said, it's not doing there's no transmuting happening at all. You know what I'm saying? So it's where the metals are, and that's and I do have, like I said, quartz crystals, and and the metals and the resin. And obviously this whole thing is basically a transmitter in itself. You have the metals and the resin and the crystals all throughout this entire pyramid. All right. So why is this important to know? Well, first of all, when you're making your orgonite, you want to make sure that, okay, so like the basic function of a transmitter is the main component in the layers that you're creating does involve the metal. Okay. So if you're making, for example, like this piece here, right? If you were to make a pyramid that has little to no metal, or basically no metal at all, there wouldn't really be any transmuting happening. It would just basically be, I would say at that point, you're borderline just like resin art. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's really pretty resin art, but could you really consider it an orgonite? Is it really a transmitter? And I would say no. There's no, I mean, without the layers of the metals, with the crystal and the resin, I mean, it wouldn't really be a properly functioning orgonite. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it would just be, so like I said, so if this whole thing was just crystals and resin, it would be really beautiful resin art. It would still have an energy to it because the crystals are there. So it will be emitting some frequencies. It will be healing. It will still be healing. It'll be working as basically a crystal, okay? Like a combination of crystals working together, right? To create a new frequency. But there wouldn't be the orgonite factor, the orgonite function, the transmuting wouldn't be there. All right? So with that being said, it doesn't really matter how you configure and design your transmitters, okay? So if you want to have, let's say you want to have the top half of crystals, the top layer of your pyramid, or the top half of your pyramid to be metals, and you want all the crystals to be at the bottom, that's fine. Or if you want to have, maybe you want to have, let's say, layers of crystals and metals. So you could have like a layer of crystal, a layer of metal, a layer of crystal. That's fine too. It doesn't really matter how you configure and design your orgonite, as long as you have the layer of the metals and the resin, and like that's where the transmuting is happening. Okay. So you could even have a whole entire piece like if just you know what I'm saying, you could have the whole entire top part of the pyramid with just one crystal, and the bottom layer having the metals, and that's fine too. It's up to you. But again, the transmuting is happening where the metals are located. All right. So it's up to you to however you want to create and design your pieces. Get creative, use your imagination, but just know that, so there isn't a wrong or right way to do it. Just there's really only one way, and that's with the metals. So where the metals are is where the transmuting is happening. But however you want it to look, feel free to, design as you wish. And and like I said, where the crystals are, there's still healing occurring where the crystals are located. Okay. So, they do still have healing properties. So like even with this one, with the aquamarine, this is emitting frequencies. There's energy here. There's healing energy here in the top layer. It's just no transmuting. So besides being an Orgonite artist, or what I like to call an Orgonite technician, an Orgon tech, I am also an energy healer and a channel and a medium. And with that, I'm extremely sensitive to energy. So I'm an energy sensitive, and I wanted to do a little test, okay? And I made an experiment in the Orgonite and to see if there was actually a difference energetically. So what you're seeing here is I have a cute little mini transmuter. Okay, so we have the metals here and the resin and the crystals. And I created a transmuter here where it's just resin and one crystal wrapped in red wire. Okay. All right. So right away, you're definitely feeling the energy of the crystal. It's definitely there. You have the crystal wrapped in the red wire, so it's amplifying the energy. And you're definitely getting, there's definitely the quartz crystal energy coming in, okay? So that's present, yeah. Okay, that's coming in, all right. Whew. But when you hold this one, see. Ooh, okay, interesting. So there's a huge difference here. Right away, you can feel like there's definitely a transmutation occurring. There's a transmuting happening, and it's like an energy clearing. Okay, so it's basically just clearing energy. And see, so with this one, it's like you can feel the crystal. It's like you can feel the quartz crystal. It's present. The energy's there. But with this one, there's something happening. There's like a field around this little guy, this little transmuter. And I'm laughing because for something so small, it's pretty potent still. And it's, there's definitely like a transmuting occurring. Okay. So yeah, there's a huge difference. Let me see. Yeah. So so there's nothing wrong with, embedding crystals in resin. This can make some really pretty art, some crystal art, and resin art, like I said. But is it Orgonite? Definitely not. No, not at all. So this is what's doing the transmuting. So wow. And if you're sensitive to energy yourself, I would highly recommend you trying this experiment out for yourself. Or if you have any psychic friends, or if you know any other energy sensitive people, they would be able to tell right away that there's definitely a difference between the two. This one doesn't really have that much action going on besides the crystal frequency itself. But this is, wow, there's a lot going on here. Yeah, it is just, like I said, it's like there's this huge energy clearing that's happening. So, that was a good experiment. That was fun. I'm glad that I took the time out and to do this, and you know what I'm saying? I had to make sure for myself that I wasn't tripping. You know what I'm saying? That there's actually something there to the Orgonite, you know what I'm saying, into the alchemy, into the composition of this. But yeah, there's definitely something here, and it's, I mean, yeah, like I said, it's transmuting and clearing. So this was such a fun video to make. I hope that you found this video well and helpful, and I totally look forward to the next video. So much love and gratitude. Thanks for tuning in. Love and blessings. Namaste.